We are going to begin at 4 with breaking news. Within just the last hour or so, a woman who admitted to leaving nearly 200 bodies to rot in a funeral home in Penrose was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
And I'm Sam Shocker in for Kim Christensen. Carrie Halford and her husband, former husband, charged families to cremate those bodies, but instead pocketed the money. John Halford is serving 40 years for a combination of state and federal crimes.
Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates joins us now. Kevin, we heard from Carrie Halford this afternoon. We also heard from really powerful victim impact statements, too.
Yeah, Phil and Sam, Carrie Halford told the judge that she was emotionally and psychologically tormented by her then husband. She also said, quote, "I wish so badly I could go back in time and change so many things. I'm very sorry to everyone that I've hurt by the things that I did and failed to do. I'm not a monster." How to explain the unexplainable. How to find the words for husband and wife funeral home operators who took money to cremate the deceased and instead left the remains of those who had died rotting, then handed the families urns filled not with ashes, but with cement or other debris. Investigators ultimately found the remains of 191 people at the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose. John Halford is already serving a 40-year sentence for state and federal crimes. Today, his now former wife, Carrie Halford, faced the final reckoning for her part in the crimes after pleading guilty to 191 felony counts of abuse of a corpse. In a packed Colorado Springs courtroom, some of those impacted tried to find the words to adequately explain the unexplainable, their shock, grief, and pain. The judge did not allow us to record audio of the statements during the hearing that was fraught with emotions. Tanya Wilson was there on behalf of her deceased mother, Kim Yong-suk. She told the judge, "There are no words to heal the gashes the Halfords have carved into my soul." Tammy Horvath spoke of the loss of her husband, Robert. "This experience will never be over for me and the others in this room. I will always live with the horrific crime at the forefront of my mind when thinking about my husband's passing." The Halfords' crimes came to light in 2023, and the horrors found inside their Penrose funeral home were indescribable. Even so, Derek Johnson, whose mother Ellen Lopes was among those whose body was never cremated, tried. This was not just a crime against people. It was a crime so vile that it stained the earth. The ground beneath the building became toxic, so corrupted it had to be scraped and hauled off as hazardous waste. Defense attorneys, the prosecutor, and even some of the victims who spoke today acknowledged that Carrie Halford was abused by John Halford. But a prosecutor also pointed out that Carrie Halford was the one who met with victims and promised to treat the remains of their loved ones with dignity and respect, and also the one who handed them cement she passed off as ashes. Live in the studio, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
Kevin, it never gets any easier to talk about this story. That is a solemn promise when you're promising to take care of people's loved ones after they've passed. Carrie pocketed an awful lot of money that was paid for people's cremations. What are some of the things she spent that money on?
Well, Phil, prosecutors showed evidence that she bought expensive clothes, drove expensive cars, traveled with the money, ate expensive meals. There was one $800 dinner, the prosecutor pointed out in her statement before the judge today. All of that money was supposed to pay for those cremations that never happened.
All right, Kevin, thanks. Today marks 3 years since the deadly shooting inside a restaurant in northwest Denver. It happened in the middle of the day, and in those 3 years, no one has been arrested. Emerald Von Dollar and Ignacio Gutierrez Morales were both working at the American Elm restaurant when they were shot and killed. Denver police originally thought it might have been a robbery, but investigators now say they haven't been able to confirm that or much else in this case. The victims' families are now offering a $32,600 reward for any information leading to arrest. If you know anything about this case that could help them out, you are asked to call Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. That number is on your screen just down here. And it's also, we put it in an article on 9news.com. Tips to Crime Stoppers, by the way, can remain anonymous, and you could be eligible for that reward if your information leads to an arrest.
Well, looking live outside where it is warm, dry, and windy once again. So let's check in now with Weather Impact Team meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen here with a look at your forecast. Hey, happy Friday, Corey.
Hey, happy Friday. You know, this is really the type of weather that a lot of people will enjoy, but unfortunately it is also the type of weather that wildfires thrive under. Warm, dry, windy conditions. 71 degrees right now in the 9 News backyard. Let's take a look at the skies that I'm looking at right above my head. You can see those clouds just now starting to show up in the area. It's 72 at the 9 News studios and 69 out at Denver International Airport, where the official high temperature for today was 72 degrees. That fire weather red flag warning goes until 8 o'clock tonight, and then we'll have a cold front come in and shake things up. We won't see too many fire weather warnings tomorrow, just down in the southern end of the state. So that cold front's going to have an impact on our temperatures. It's going to be much warmer tomorrow, only with the highs in the 50s, likely topping out at 59 degrees here at Denver International Airport. And we'll also start to increase that moisture. 15% chance, just some isolated stuff tomorrow, but Sunday a little bit more coverage, so a better chance to get hit by one of those showers, and also on Monday afternoon. I'm going to timeline the rain chances coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Corey, looking forward to it. A firefighter is recovering after he was burned fighting a wildfire in Fort Collins. The pond fire started around this time yesterday. It spread quickly, prompting mandatory evacuations. The threat is over now, but 9 News Northern Colorado reporter Amanda Gilbert shows us why it forced people from their homes.
Yeah, Poudre Fire Authority says the wind just really pushed this fire. It caused it to move faster than it normally would. And just being in people's backyards today in that Ponds neighborhood, you could see how close the fire line was to backyard. Multiple agencies were involved in fighting this. The fire spread to about 9 acres, but it's fully contained. A firefighter with the Larimer County Sheriff's Office did burn his arm, but he's okay. He was released from the hospital. Air support dropped fire retardant, and I spoke to people today who were just cleaning up the leftover red sludge from their backyards. They had to evacuate right away yesterday. It was in the evening around 5, and they say this is just a reminder of how quickly these things can happen.
Leaving was hard. It was hard. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this is your house. You're watching the flames roll by so quickly, because it's so dry.
Poudre Fire Authority says despite this, the good news is no homes were impacted. They're still investigating the cause of this fire. In Fort Collins, Amanda Gilbert, 9 News.
Amanda, thank you. The Larimer County Sheriff's Office says the threat isn't over when it comes to red flag warnings. They are asking people to sign up for NOCO Alert because that's how they communicate during these emergencies.
The Sheridan teacher strike is set to officially end soon. Today, the Sheridan Educators Association voted to ratify the agreement made last night with the Sheridan School District. The agreement came after a marathon negotiating session at the state capitol.
Yeah, Governor Polis had pushed both sides to come back to the table and end the strike as soon as possible. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles joins us now with more on this agreement.
Well, guys, the teachers union says that vote passed unanimously today. They had promised to get the vote done by the end of the day and make this official quickly. The union says this now gives them a reinstated contract through December. They'd been working without a contract since last August. Union President Kate Beester says she is proud of the fight from the union and how they were able to achieve key goals in this new agreement.
We had our 3 main demands, which were to reinstate our union, to reinstate our contract for protections for our workers, to expand our bargaining unit to be all educators, and to retract retaliatory discipline and restrictive policies in our school district. And we feel confident that we have made really positive movement in all those areas that can provide better outcomes for our community.
So one of the sticking points that had to be hashed out at the state capitol yesterday was the size of the union. Sally Daigle is the mayor of Sheridan and also the vice president of the school district. And she says the union wanted to expand to include support staff like bus drivers and janitors along with teachers. Those support staff, Daigle calls them classifieds, but that didn't fit what the district had a vision for here.
What we would like to do is model after Littleton School District that has negotiations with the teachers, and then they have negotiations with the classified. And that's what we have asked of Sheridan educators, but they want a wall-to-wall union that covers all of them. And I really kind of believe that it has to do with getting those numbers.
So Daigle says they all agreed on a smaller teachers union, and now they're open to support staff forming their own separate union. She expects the district to ratify this agreement over the weekend and make it official at their meeting, on Tuesday. The teachers union hopes they'll approve it earlier than that so they can be back in classrooms on Monday. So that's what we'll have to look for, Sam, is the timing on this next piece, right? When officially are teachers back in the classroom?
Yeah, we want to see those teachers back in the classroom. And listen, kudos to Governor Polis for bringing them back to that table to negotiate and get this deal done. Jenny, thank you.